You can download this client brief as an example in the downloadable resources in this class. So let's get started. This is the client brief, and this is a series of questions I asked to get some further information from the client, as they did not provide a formal brief themselves. So, simple one, what is the company name and how would you like it to appear on your logo? Sushi Club, authentically prepared. And it's kind of important to understand authentically prepared is a little less important of the logo than the Sushi Club. It's kind of like a tagline, and that's something we need to establish and get back with the client just to make sure authentically prepared is an official tagline and not part of the full company name. Also, what industry are you in? We plan to start out as a full sushi delivery restaurant. We want to open a physical location shortly after launch to complement our delivery service. So that's really interesting. So they're going to start off as a full delivery restaurant, but they hope to be able to have patrons inside a physical store. So it's really important to kind of think of this branding process of thinking about how important the delivery will be for them in advertising a delivery service. So we got to think about in-store branding, but we also have to think about how their to-go items are going to be branded as well. So it's kind of a little bit more complicated, and I'm glad we have that information. So they'll offer maki, sashimi, and nigiri style sushi, along with traditional sushi side complements like edamame. So they're going to have a pretty simple menu. They sent us a sample menu. That's another great thing to ask for. What is their, if they're a restaurant, ask for a menu. If they're an online company, ask for the list of products. So it's really good to kind of know what they offer and become pretty familiar. So if I didn't know what maki was, you bet I'm going to Google that and figure out what's the difference between maki, sashimi, and nigiri style. And I was able to find out that maki is the sushi rolls that you traditionally associate with sushi, and sashimi is raw fish without any rice. It's just raw fish on a plate. And nigiri style has the raw fish on top of rice, usually wrapped with seaweed or sometimes not wrapped at all, depending on the style. So the next question is a standard question I put in all questionnaires because I think sometimes the client doesn't even know what their unique selling point is until you ask them, and they have to think about it. Sometimes they know right away, but you really have to find this information because I think it really plays a huge part of positioning the brand design. So what is the unique selling point of your product? What makes them different? They say we promote a more authentic way of eating and preparing sushi that you might experience in Japan. We would like to bring that more authentic sushi preparation to American consumers. This is a great article that details some ways in which eating and preparing sushi the Japanese way might be different from what you might have seen or practiced yourself. Oh, so that's pretty cool. They gave us a nice detailed article. You bet I'm going to read that entire article and really kind of do some research about different ways you call sushi, different ways to prepare it. This is the type of research that we need to be involved in. We really need to absorb ourselves into the client product and the industry and what they're offering. It's all a normal part of the research process. We will also prepare our sushi using Japanese-made high-quality sushi knives called Yanagi. Here's a basic website that details the look and function of these special knives. Okay, so there's another awesome article. And it's also nice if you don't know about the industry, just be blunt. Ask the client, okay, I don't understand this part of your industry. I'm not familiar with it. Be honest. Let them educate you because they're the ones that are going to be able to educate you the best about their product. Sometimes if you go straight to Google, you're going to get some misinformation. So it's better to go right to the client for that source. And the fish is freshly sourced to maintain quality every day of operation. So when I'm reading this, I'm reading the feedback, I'm also starting to notice trends and common words that continue to prop up. And we're going to get to some word mapping next, and we're going to be able to take a lot of the words that the client is saying over and over, and we're going to be able to do this word mapping to help us find connecting words, and it's going to help with their overall brand design process. But I can already see authentic is obviously a word I'd like to explore further, and fresh. I've seen fresh, authentic, just starting to see those kind of themes in their feedback. This is another required question of mine, is the target audience. And if you don't know who you're designing for, you're not going to be able to know how to properly put everything together. Is this going to be young millennials? Is this going to be Gen X, Gen Z, all those different kind of generations? Is this an older population? What is your target audience? How much money do they make? What kind of discretionary income do they have? What do they wear? What all these different things we want to know about our target audience. It can only be helpful. So they said their target audience is those who want good Japanese style sushi, maki, sashimi, and nigiri style. They prefer the taste of fish over the flashy extra stuffing. We do not offer volcano rolls, and I know sushi really well, but if I did not, I would definitely Google volcano rolls and find out that they're not really authentic Japanese sushi. It's just almost like a tomato sauce poured on top of sushi. It's very Americanized and silly, but they taste good. But that's not who they're trying to target to. So they don't offer volcano rolls, and they which is what you think of when you think of sushi. We do offer rice-based rolls, but they will be made with simple ingredients and never more than 3 in one roll. So visiting and doing research and going to different sushi restaurants, I discovered that they do kind of pack their sushi with lots of different ingredients, which is usually, kind of complicates the taste, and you can't really taste the fish anymore. So that's kind of a unique selling point that I'm starting to see more with their target audience answer. Another good one is, what is your price point? That also helps determine our target audience. If they're a super high price point, then they might need to have a different reserved, higher end, simple, elegant brand presentation. If they're more casual and they're the cheapest in their industry, it's probably going to be kind of more fun, bright, casual kind of presentation. So this is important to kind of know, where do they fall price point wise. So they said, we spend a good amount of money making sure we source organic, fresh fish, and I'm noticing the word fresh again, so I'm just making a note. Okay, they mention the word fresh a lot. But also soy, ginger, and other required ingredients to maximize the tasting experience. It's interesting they use the word experience. I'm definitely going to take a note of that. This means we need to charge a slightly higher price than most other places that prepare sushi. That makes sense. I would say we do not have an ultra high price point, but higher than most. So they're not going to be the top in the industry, but they're going to be up there. Since we deliver, we're able to pass along the savings of low overhead to the consumer and still maintain our high quality standards. So that's good. They're going to be competitive with other restaurants that might deliver, but they might be maybe 10% more. So we're not talking about a drastically expensive price point. So that's good to kind of consider. So another question I like to throw out there, because you never know what the client's going to give back to you. They may not answer a question. That happens a lot. But sometimes they answer and they give you some good feedback. But in this case, style preferences. So they said, we have no clue. We love a very traditional, simple, elegant look, but we also fear we will be seen as pretentious. So they're worried about looking too high-end and too unaffordable and too expensive. So that is a very interesting statement they made. So I'm already starting to eliminate certain design looks and feels and experiences because they said that. We can go this ultra sleek, simple look, but they're also don't want to be seen as too expensive either. So we have to be careful here. So they say they want to educate and offer this experience to all consumers interested, regardless of their knowledge on the matter. So it sounds like they kind of want to be approachable. Approachable would be like a really good idea word to kind of think about. So as I'm reading this, I'm highlighting words, I'm copying and pasting into a document all these words and writing little notes about it. So I'm just going to write down that word approachable. And eye-catching, of course, every client wants to be eye-catching. Who doesn't? So that doesn't help us too much. But perhaps when you present concepts, you can try out 2 different approaches so we can see what might be the best fit for us. So it looks like they're wanting to kind of have us experiment with styles a little bit to kind of see what they look. Sounds like they really don't know where they want to go, which can be a little challenging because we have to figure that out before we move too far into the process. So it sounds like I might need to develop a couple of stylescapes or a couple of little style presentations so they can kind of figure out where they land or where they think they belong style-wise. So we have some work on our hands to do, and that is not a problem. So number 1, they want to try a bright, hip, fun, kind of like a POW when you see it. We are a delivery service and will most likely attract a younger crowd with this more fun, vibrant look. So they're kind of dropping some hints about style ideas. Number 2, more reserved, black used, seal graphic, something that would cater more toward our traditional roots. So those are 2 totally different styles, and I think they're still trying to figure out where they land. I would love to find one in between too that can really cater to both 1 and 2. I think we can find and compromise on something like that. I think that they can have their cake and they can eat it too. And I think that our job as a designer is to find the right fit. So it might not be 1, it might not be 2, it might be a blend of the 2. And I think I'm going to be the one to help them figure that out. So I know these 2 are totally different styles, but part of the branding process we go through with you will also help us shape our marketing strategy, price point, and other business decisions. So it sounds like they're at the very beginning of this process in terms of opening this restaurant, and we are going to help them figure out a lot of things already. So they're still not 100% finite on everything about the company. And that's okay, because that happens. What I like to do is I like to turn the tables, and I want them to brainstorm a little bit too along with me. It's not just me that's responsible for brainstorming. I want them to get involved in the process as well. So I ask them, words you think of when you think of your restaurant concept. So they went ahead and got back with the word authentic, which doesn't surprise me because I've seen that throughout the answers and it's a part of their tagline. So that's going to be an incredibly important word when we come up with our ideas and concepts for the logo design. Preparation, so the process, I guess, the process experience, I guess, would be a better word for than preparation. Taste over quantity. Once again, I'm noticing the word taste come up again, so I'm going to write notes about the word taste. Fresh, again, authentic and fresh and taste are repetitive words. Delivery, so convenience, and then less is better, so maybe not too crazy of a design, maybe kind of more of a simple look, maybe just kind of starting to think out loud and think through all the answers that they've given us. Outside of the logo and kind of some brand ideas, what else will you be needing? But they said menus for sure. Our menu will also need to be online, but also eventually in a printed form. So we got to make sure we design a menu that's flexible for both formats. I would love to have an infographic detailing the authentic way to eat and prepare sushi, maybe a bit of an education and different styles and names of sushi. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe in a format where we can place it on social media, but also on our website. I will want to see the brand on chopstick wrappers. We have a company already that can place the graphics on these, as well as other items that will come with the delivery kit, like boxes, bags, and napkins. So it sounds like we need to really work on some delivery branding, so bags, boxes, and those chopsticks. That could be where we can test out our logo design once we get that finished as kind of a presentation for them so they can see it on the things that they need the most. So I already have some raw ideas and information I was able to write down from all of this. So I'm going to keep that on the side as I continue to gather more and more research to add to this. So next, I like to kind of study the industry a little bit more, and the best way to do that is some competitor research. We talked about this before, how maybe visiting sushi restaurants would be a great way to experience this. But if your company is an online company, there's fantastic ways to do some competitor research by just simply Googling the industry or Googling their name if they're already a business and finding out who comes up second and third on Google, and kind of going through their competitors' process. If they have an online checkout process, go through that online checkout process. You need to really be able to know what they offer and how maybe you can present something different for the client that you're doing. So competitor research is incredibly valuable.